Hey, everybody, this is Jonathan Ogden, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
Hey, Bruin fans, this is David Singleton, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show. Go Bruins.
Hey, this is Wayne Cook, and you're listening to What's Bruin Show.
Hey, guys, it's Chris Johnson, UCLA national champion. I need y'all to listen to the What's Bruin Show. These dudes are off the hook.
This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello and welcome to What's Bruin. I am your host, Jake Merrifield, and I'm joined by my good buddy, Mike Regalado.
What's up, Jake? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Mike. I hope you're well.
Iron Mike.
There it is. Yeah, it's What's Bruin Show on the What's Bruin Show Network. Thank you for your support. You can email the show, what'sbruinshow@gmail.com. You can call the show, 805-399-4WBS.
Suckarina Troy.
Just had, we went to Gino's East the other day, had deep dish Chicago pizza. That was wonderful.
Oh, nice. Where is that?
It's in Sherman Oaks, of all places. Okay. Yeah, a nice place if you want to go. It's on Riverside and like Coldwater or something like that. But highly recommend if you like that Chicago style. The Great Sports Luncheon is there often.
Oh,
with
yes,
the Godfather
yes,
Jim Bendat and
yes.
Dave Freddy, evil Trojan Dave.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's where you used to live.
Yeah,
like way back in the day.
Mike, absolutely. I used to live a block away from there
Yeah.
on Fulton and in Riverside, basically. So yeah, very good, Mike. Nice memory.
Thank
So yeah. Anyways, the Gino's East, highly recommend. But Suckarina Troy still. We're going to do some fun things tonight. Like, we're going to have an actual super awesome guest tonight, thanks to my man, Mike Regalado.
That's me.
But before we get to that guest, Mike, you want to do some other stuff. So I guess we'll start with some headlines or something, right? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, just for before we get into the nitty-gritty of this, what we will be talking about in this just absolutely fantastic weekend for UCLA football. But, Jake, just an absolutely, it was a fantastic weekend for UCLA football, but it was a fantastic weekend for UCLA sports in general. A lot of stuff happened, especially with the revenue sports, especially with the beach volleyball team sweeping Stanford 3-0, top-seeded Stanford out there in Gulf Shores, Alabama. The Bruins won 3-0 to win their third national title and the university's 127th. Yeah.
The magic
Straight
man.
baller.
And
Straight baller.
this is also the third national championship from a UCLA program this academic year. Of course, we know about the women's basketball team that won their title just about a month ago, just over a month ago, as well as earlier in the year, men's water polo. So, yeah.
I'm happy that UCLA won.
I believe there was this diagram.
I'm happy that UCLA won.
I think there were 10 Big Ten schools that have won a national championship this season. UCLA has won 3 of them.
Go Bruins, right? What was up?
Go Bruins. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
And the other 7 were from 7 other Big Ten schools. Hells yeah. So
That's great.
A good weekend for some hardware, but the hardware did not stop there because late Sunday, the UCLA baseball team, they defeated. I'm blanking on who they were playing, but basically they won a share of the Big Ten title. They were 24-0 after that win, and so they basically won a share of that title. But later in the day, Washington beat Oregon, who was also in contention for the Big Ten title. With Washington beating Oregon, the Bruins are the outright Big Ten regular season champions. And what a freaking! And there's still 2 weeks to go in the season. It's Tuesday right now, so the Bruins are at Loyola Marymount, and they have 2 more series. One this weekend at Jackie Robinson Stadium against Oregon. Then they are up to Seattle next weekend to finish off the regular season with a series against Washington before they get into Big Ten play, which they will have the number 1 seed.
UCLA, fight.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're probably going to get another guest to talk about that next week. So hold on to your horses, ladies and gentlemen.
Fight!
Fight.
Yes. Where was I? That threw me off a little bit.
I know.
My phone's ringing
We're gonna have
too.
a baseball guest.
Everybody stop. Yeah, we're going to have a guest talk about baseball. Yeah, because this is just a fantastic season for the Bruins, who are making history. They also, if they win one more, if they win their next, not just one more, but if they win their next Big Ten game, which is on Friday, I believe, Thursday or Friday at Oregon, they will have tied the Big Ten record for consecutive conference wins going back to last season. Jake, Illinois holds that record. Within 10 years, can you pick out what year they won?
Let's say it one more time. Everybody's calling me right now too. I'm sorry. My lack of attention is obvious.
If UCLA wins their next conference game, that's 27 conference wins in a row.
For
going back to last season.
Yeah.
Illinois holds that record. In what year did they claim that record? Within 10 years, plus or minus 10 years.
Within the last 10 years. Or no, I want to get it. 19. 56.
No.
Oh.
Even older than that.
Wow. 1932.
Older.
What? Okay, just give it to me.
1911.
Wow.
8 years before UCLA was UCLA.
World War I era.
Yes.
Jesus God.
This record has stood
Holy
for well
smokes.
over 100 years. So if the Bruins win their next conference game, they bring that record up to date. So yeah, when I read that, I'm like, what the hell?
That's a good fact, Mike.
That's
I
an
like that.
insane stat right there.
The Godfather. The Godfather's mother wasn't even born yet. I want to say.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. She just had a wonderful birthday. She's like
she's turned 100, didn't she?
Yes, right.
Do something like
And
that.
applause to her.
Yeah.
A wonderful woman.
Happy birthday. And yeah, some more stick and ball news. The UCLA softball team, they were in contention for the Big Ten title, but they lost 2 out of 3 to Oregon over the weekend. But they came back on
Stupid
Sunday
Ducks.
to win.
You're wimpy.
Yeah, and since
Apparently you have teeth.
UCLA and Oregon have the same record, Oregon holds a tiebreaker, so Oregon is the number 2 seed. UCLA is the number 3 seed in this week's Big Ten tournament, which takes place in Omaha, Nebraska.
About that, I'm gonna crumple some paper.
Trash.
Stupid trash ducks. Throw that in the trash.
So the Bruins
Get out of here, ducks.
It's still a phenomenal season.
Yes.
Something like 44-5, something just insane. These Bruins are looking good. Pitching could be better, but I mean, you have those bats. I mean, you have 3, and additionally, Megan Grant, Jordan Woolery, and Tyler Tinsley,
just a baller, man.
all got drafted in the AUSL draft,
Go
the softball
Bruins,
draft,
right? What was that?
on
Go
Monday.
Bruins.
So 3 heavy hitters for the Bruins.
That is awesome.
And they are, going to be the number 3 seed in the Big Ten tournament. And hopefully if they can win the tournament, that gives them a better leg up. Right now, they're still good to host a regional. They're number 6 in the country. I think they fell a little bit because of those 2 losses. But yeah, they're definitely going to host a regional. But at the same time, you want to have as high of a seed as possible, because once you get into the inner workings of this weird ass brackets for the College World Series, both of them actually, it's going to be pretty tough to play as a lower seed. So
UCLA
that's what's
is a team now we're going to have to start talking about.
Hells yeah. And so that's basically what's going on with the other 3 sports.
That's great, Mike.
That were in major action this weekend. Let's talk some football.
Excellent, Mike. That's a great idea. So, number 1, let's play the football intro.
Blue 32, Blue 32, California, hood, hey! Football.
And on the What's Bruin Show hotline, we have a special guest, a Mr. Connor Morrissette, the lead UCLA reporter for Bruin 24/7 Sports. has an interesting background, which we're going to get into. But Connor, thank you very much for joining the What's Bruin Show. How you doing?
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Mike. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm all right. It's been a really fun weekend for UCLA athletics. We actually just covered, just talked about briefly both baseball and softball's big weekend, as well as championship number 127. So huge weekend for the Bruins. But especially if you're a football fan, my gosh, it was huge. But before we get into that, for those of you that don't know Connor, he's actually been around the LA area for quite a while, because before this, Connor, say it isn't so, you covered USC sports?
Yes, and before that I did high school sports out here. So here for a little bit, but I love what we're doing, Mike, over at Bruin247.com. We started that up on March 1st. It's kind of been a whirlwind after spring football. We get a chance to catch our breaths, but it's great to be on your team with that, and it's been so far so good, I'd say.
Yeah, we all hit the ground running. You leading everything, me coming in, kind of bridging the gap from the last site. Jack Savage, who's killing it with recruiting in baseball, and Mr. Chris Johnson, who is a former guest of the Bruins, the What's Bruin Show. He was on about Jake, about a year ago, I think. Just a wonderful guest, and he's bringing his basketball expertise to Bruin 24/7, and yeah, it's been pretty damn good start so far. But yeah, Connor, just really quick, just more background. Like, where are you from, and how are you? I know you're not from LA, but when did you come out here? How are you liking the LA scene?
Sure. So I grew up in Massachusetts, and then I went to school at Syracuse University, graduated in 2017 with a degree in journalism. And at that point, I applied to jobs all over the country, and I was fortunate enough to start out here. It's now Bally Sports, the regional sports network, I think. But when I was hired, I worked for a show called SoCal Prep Insider, which was on Fox Sports West. Mm-hmm. So I did that for a couple of years. Worked for another high school sports outlet for a few years before starting over at USC. And yeah, you asked me about the scene. I mean, when I did high school sports out here, that was Bryce Young. That was DJ Uiagalelei. That was probably the greatest high school football game I've ever been to, when those two guys battled it out for the Southern Section Championship, either in 2018 or 2019. And the basketball at the high school level is incredible. I think the best sport out here on the boys' side is probably baseball, the talent that they had. I went to a media day with Paul Skeens back when he was an Air Force commit. So he's really climbed the ladder of success, that's for sure. But it was just really cool to experience high school sports out here, because where I'm from, you might get one or two guys who go on to play collegiately, and every now and then there's going to be a pro. But here it's just totally different. So covering that was awesome. And yeah, I just tried to climb the ladder. And so, yeah, eventually got hired over at the USC 24/7 site by my old boss, Ryan Abraham. And then this UCLA opportunity opened up, and put my name in, and ended up working out. So it's been a fun ride. I think I'm going to be starting my 9th year out here in August. So time really flies when you're having fun. That's for sure.
Yeah, seriously. And we actually love Ryan Abraham, despite him working for the enemy.
He is the coolest. I love that guy.
He is a fantastic guy. And yeah, I did see, I think he tweeted out shortly after it was announced that he's very upset that you are not going to be working with him anymore. but yeah, now we the 24/7 spot, the 24/7 Sports UCLA site now has you on their side. One more question before we get into football. How quickly did you have to just dive into UCLA sports, basketball and football? And especially at that time, Bob Chesney's already been hired. Recruiting is kind of getting going. And then right in the middle of March Madness, how was that assimilation into Bruin life?
It was fun. I mean, it was a lot of work because I was so used to USC, and sometimes I even will still say USC when I mean UCLA. I got to get over that now that we're in the 3rd month of this, but getting better with that. Yeah, I remember, Mike, when we launched, it was midnight. It was a Sunday night, I think, February 28th into March 1st. Mm-hmm. And the 24/7 Sports higher-ups, they wanted us to have some content ready to go. So the fact that they asked for that was helpful, where I tried to tier grade all the football transfers, so that at least got me a little bit familiar with the football roster. And then I did some bracketology stuff for basketball, covering USC basketball. They had just played UCLA, so I was a little bit familiar with UCLA basketball, and just fewer players obviously made that a little bit easier. But the football side was more challenging. But I think the fact that we had a run-up where I was already kind of working on stuff before we officially launched was helpful. And I still have to do a social media deep dive with the football team, where I got to follow all the players on Twitter and Instagram, so that should help even more. But just going to the practices was so helpful, where I think 13 of the 15 were open to the media, and I was fortunate enough to be at every single one. So just seeing the guys, seeing the coaches, that definitely made the transition easier, and you start to understand the numbers and all that good stuff. So the fact that we started up before spring ball was huge, because I think if we were playing catch up after the spring, you only have the summer and then the games, that would have been more challenging. So it was nice to start with the spring for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And especially with what's going on, you talked about how you have to get up to speed with the social media. Well, so does everybody else, because we've been talking about this. UCLA brings in a lot of guys. And yes, this is the era of the transfer portal and NIL. And you're going to have a lot of guys that you don't recognize. And honestly, just, excuse me, I went to the first practice with you, and looking at that roster, I was like, who are these guys? Like, what do they do? What are they doing here? But I mean, I guess it's something that we're going to have to get used to every year. But like you said, you were at every practice. Thank God, because that helped me to do a few less practice sessions. But it is a lot of work, especially this year, because last year we only got like maybe 15 or 20 minutes. They were very generous this year. The media got about 30 to 45 minutes to start, and then about an extra 15 at the end. Just so much openness with the Bob Chesney era. So really quickly, what do you think about how the Bruins are transitioning from this era of mediocrity under Chip Kelly and unfortunately Deshaun Foster, who was put in a bad situation, and now are in this era where there's light at the end of the tunnel? There's hope.
Certainly that there is hope. And just to touch on the media availability that you talked about, they had 3 fully open practices, including the spring game. And then I think the rest of them were 45 minutes overall. They were open. So yeah, when you're trying to figure out a new team, that was huge, and that was super helpful. So I'm really thankful for them for doing that. It was similar at USC, where you get about 10 or 15 minutes before practice sometimes, and then you'd have to leave, and you just couldn't really make a lot of definitive statements about the team because you didn't see so much. So that's been awesome, and I really am thankful for them for that. And then in terms of the hope, I think the biggest thing that Bob Chesney needed to do was to win the offseason. He had to position UCLA for future success. And what does that look like? That looks like getting the fan base excited and engaged. Check. That looks like getting donors more involved than they have been in years past. Major check. That looks like recruiting at a high level. Check. That looks like getting buy-in from the team and having people be really excited to come to work every day. Check. He's just done so much in such a short amount of time to position UCLA for future success that I give him a ton of credit. I give him an A+ for what he's done from when he was hired in early December to now. Not only did they run a really successful spring camp on the field, but I just felt like all the outside stuff that a head coach is responsible for, he really nailed. And we'll see what the wins and losses record looks like at the end of the fall. But in terms of just excitement right now, I think they really couldn't have done a better job. So I'm excited for the season to see how that translates, because I do think the guys really love playing for them, and that can always go a long way when maybe they don't have the most talented team. But if you have a coach who motivates you and can get more out of you than even you maybe expected, like I said, that could really help. So we'll have to see. But it's impossible not to be high on the guy, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way.
No, we definitely do, Connor. And I had one other question about that, and that is when the hire first happened, it seemed like it was universally, oh, this is a good hire, but there was a lot of skeptics about how UCLA would be able to prop up or support Chesney as he goes through, right? And so I'm talking about like the national headlines. We're all looking at this through a microscope as local guys, but nationally, it was, hey, Chesney's a great hire, but can UCLA do it? And now, just in the last couple of weeks, I guess through spring practice, you're starting to see some of the national people start to say, I think this has to do with the recruiting weekend as well, too, which I'm sure you're going to talk about in a minute, but you're starting to see more people say, well, maybe he is doing good things at UCLA. What do you think the national picture for UCLA is going to look like as we get closer to, through the summer and into fall?
Well, if they continue to recruit at a high level, I know they won't sign those guys until December at the earliest, but if it looks like they're going to have a really good first class, I think nationally you'll start to hear some people say, okay, that's the first domino that needs to fall. I wasn't sure if someone could go to UCLA and recruit at that level. If they continue to do that, then I think nationally people will start to change their tune. And then the other thing is winning games. If they have a good recruiting class and say they are fortunate enough to win 8 games, go 8-4. I think their over-under's 5.5. The last time I looked at the line for the season, like if you can really overachieve it in that regard, then I think you're cooking with gas, and the national media would have to say, look, we were wrong about this. UCLA, they have positioned themselves really well for this NIL era after really being asleep at the wheel here the past few years. And I think there's some potential for some people to have misread the situation, which is understandable because Chip Kelly wasn't known as being a great recruiter. Deshaun Foster, not a great recruiter, not a great coach. And it just didn't seem like UCLA was that great of an opportunity. But with Chesney, he doesn't take the job unless he thought it was a great opportunity. He's clearly making good on that. So, UCLA was pretty bad previously, so I don't want to say everything's fixed, but they're certainly much better positioned than they were, and they have a real chance to be pretty good, I think, as long as they can keep Chesney around. So what a great hire. Pretty much everything that we were saying the previous coaches weren't doing, he's doing. So that's pretty good.
Well, let's get into it. One of the things that you just talked about was recruiting, and over this weekend, just a freaking fantastic weekend for UCLA sports in general, but really with UCLA football, and really with UCLA football recruiting, because they had 6 commitments over a 3 or 4 day span. And I believe before the weekend, they were ranked 43rd in the nation. After their 4th commitment, they're now number 4 in the nation. Just insane. And they have 16 commitments. 7 of them are 4-stars. I think the last time UCLA had that many 4-star commitments was back in like 2018 or 19, which says quite a bit. What are your thoughts on what happened this weekend and how that is bringing more attention, just like you're talking about? All of a sudden, everyone's looking at UCLA going, oh, this guy's serious. He's bringing in some top dogs.
It's huge. You're right. They haven't recruited at this level in a long time. And not only is it highly ranked recruits, but it's at positions of real consequence where it's hard to bring in interior defensive linemen. You're not going to get really, really high-level interior defensive linemen from the transfer portal because outside of quarterbacks, those are probably the second most valuable guys, and they're going to go to certain schools, and they'll just be retained by those schools if they're any good because it's worth the investment. So the fact that they get George Toy, I know he had Jay Toy, his brother, at UCLA, so there's a connection, but the fact that they were able to get that across the finish line is very significant to me, because that position is so tough just to get the best possible players. And then the other thing, they beat out USC, Oregon, Ohio State for Jackson Roper, the offensive lineman from Colorado. Like,
go Bruins, right?
That to me was a litmus test for them. Can you not only recruit better than you've been recruiting, but can you go out and win some head-to-head battles? And I mean, I didn't think that they would beat USC in a head-to-head battle so early, and they did. And then Jerry Outhouse, the safety, he was at Georgia. He was a Georgia commit, and then he flips to UCLA. So it's not only like they're landing these these guys, they're competing with some of the best programs in the country, and it's hard not to notice that.
Now, with these guys that are this is for the 2027 class, how, I love seeing them commit, and it's really cool to see UCLA at the top of the 27 rankings. But you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Connor. What do you think they have to do to kind of keep these guys in the fold, and keep them around? How successful do you think they need to be on the field in 26 to keep this class together?
I think it's so different now, where it really did make a big difference how many games you would win before NIL, but now these guys, they won't be able to get paid before they enroll, but like they have an idea of how much they're going to get paid at UCLA. And as long as no one on the current team says my check isn't cashing, you're probably going to see fewer decommits than you might if they have a disappointing season, just because the money is the money, and these guys are professionals now. So
wow,
it's almost as if they've signed like pre-contracts to be at UCLA. That's what a commitment means now. So, you could see a guy here or there decommit, but I don't anticipate a situation where there's just a mass exodus, because that's just not really how it works anymore unless there's a coaching change. When you're at the Power 4 level and you have an NIL budget that is substantial, you're going to get some good players if you have a clue with your staff, and this staff clearly does. So I just think they need to continue to show competence, and even if they go 6-6, that's still much better than what we saw last year. And I think it'll take something crazy for UCLA to see some massive decommitments because of the money angle. And that's kind of how I've always felt about it.
That's really interesting. And I love to hear that, first of all. Do you think that, it seems like now you're making an argument for the stability, and it makes perfect sense for the incoming guys to be, it's more stable. But as we've seen the last couple of years all over college football, the transfer portal for the guys that have been in programs for a year or two or whatever, that's super volatile. What do you think about the transfer portal, how volatile that is? Do you think that's ever going to settle down, or is that just the new college football where, so many guys are going to go different places after they've been in a program for a year or two?
Yeah, nothing is stopping a guy who might sign a 3-year deal with a school to transfer, because there's no collective bargaining agreement. So there's no binding thing where if they leave, it's really hard to enforce that deal. But we are seeing 3-year deals, and I can't speak to what's happening at UCLA, but I know at USC they signed a good amount of their really highly ranked 2026 class to 3-year deals. The most important thing, recruiting is of course really important, but retaining your good players is the most important thing that you can do. So that kind of remains to be seen, where I do think that factors into how well UCLA plays, obviously, but more of that with the portal, it's guys who are unhappy with their playing time, who feel like they can get similar, maybe a little less, but similar to more money elsewhere and play. So it's a delicate balancing act. But Derek Ray, the general manager, he's very experienced. He was at Fresno State and Florida State. And they're not signing these guys they're not getting commitments, not signing them yet, from the guys that they've got commitments from without a real deal general manager and a real deal front office staff. So I don't want to predict the future, but the fact that they have this real deal front office staff makes me feel pretty good about them being able to retain the best players that they need to retain moving forward. So we'll see what happens. Stuff can change, but I think you have to kind of go in with that idea, because look, if they weren't recruiting at a high level and would question the front office staff, it would be different. But these guys seem like they know what they're doing, and I think that's going to carry over to retainment.
We talk about the future under Chesney and what's going to happen. Well, over the weekend, it was kind of a the future is now type of situation, because we had the spring game. Both Jack, you, and I, all three of us were at the spring game, taking on our individual observations. Let's just jump into it, big picture, and then we'll get into specifics. What did you think about how the team performed? And it was interesting because they didn't just have first team versus first team offense versus first team defense and so on and so on. They actually split the team up into a white team and a blue team, so it was a proper game. First off, I think I texted you and said that this was this is the most people I've seen at a spring event, whether it was a game or a spring showcase or whatever they wanted to advertise it as. There was a lot of buzz and there were a lot of people. It was said that there were going to be about 18,000. Maybe it was about 14, 15,000, but that's still a good amount of people. But overall, what were your thoughts on just this your first UCLA spring game with Bruin 24/7?
It was great to see increased engagement based on where the team had performed previously. Obviously, people are a lot more excited, and you saw that in the stands, so that was great. And then in terms of the game, the offense started slow, where Nico and Madden, the two starting quarterbacks for their respective teams, they both had 2 drives to begin the game, and then they all ended in punts. And that wasn't really a big surprise to me. The offense was pretty consistently behind the defense in the practices that we were able to watch. My read on it, guys, is that I think UCLA's defense actually has a chance to be pretty good. And I think the offense has a chance to be – if the offense, like, everything really works, you know, I could see them being okay to good. But, like, I think this is going to be a team where the defense keeps them in a lot of games. And if they have the ball last, maybe they're able to go down and score against some better opponents. So it wasn't really a big surprise to me that the offense started a little bit slow. And then once more of the second and third tier guys came in later in the game, the offense opened up a little bit and just the younger players got to make some plays. So I did think Nico got better as the game went on, and Madden too. And that had kind of been a theme of practice where they might have started a little bit slow and then would improve. Ty Diefenbach, who didn't really play a ton in the game, I wish he was the backup quarterback. I kind of like what I've seen from him better than what I've seen from Madden. So I know that competition will continue into fall camp, but it's pretty clear that right now Madden is the backup quarterback based on how they went about divvying up those reps. So those were some overall observations. Brian Rowe popped, and he'd been having a really good spring, so it was nice to see him make that one-handed catch and then draw some penalties. Him and Nico have a great connection, so I was encouraged by that, and then really encouraged, obviously, by the defense, at least early on. So I wasn't totally surprised with what we saw. It kind of backed up what we had seen all spring.
Yeah, I want to back you up with that talk about Ty. He had a really good performance. He came in, played a lot of time more in the second half, quote unquote, second half of this spring game. But yeah, I thought he was pretty impressive as well. But you also talked about the defense. Yeah, this actually reminded me of UCLA's defense 2 years ago, where you had guys like Oladejo and Latu. A lot of pressure up front. And the fact that UCLA could not generate sacks and tackles for a loss last year, well, that's not going to be a problem this year, especially with guys like Lucian Holland, Omosigo, Sahir West. I didn't see a lot from Sahir West, but I don't think that's going to be a problem as the season goes on. But I do want to ask you about what did you think about the offensive line performance, as well as the production from Anthony Woods, Javian Thomas. Obviously, we didn't see Wayne Knight because he's been out for spring. But what are your thoughts on how the run game went, especially starting with the offensive line?
I think it was really hard to evaluate the offensive line because of the two-team setup, where you just had guys who maybe won't be playing a whole lot together, together. But Anthony Woods did rush for that first touchdown, I believe, and he probably was the brightest out of those running backs. And we had seen a lot from Javian Thomas during spring practice. I didn't think he had that great of a spring game, but what we saw from him in practice was really encouraging. So I think you have a really good two-headed monster with those two guys, and then it'll be a three-headed monster with Wayne Knight once he gets healthy. So Woods has sort of established himself to me as the team starter, and then the other guys will also play, but they'll come in after him, and we saw that sort of play out in the spring game. I did a depth chart for our website earlier this week for offense, and I think the tackles are kind of solidified, where it's Hall Schmidt at right tackle, Jordan Davis at left tackle. But then in the middle, I like that they have three guys for two guard spots: Eugene Brooks, Carter Sweezy, Julian Armella. And then at center, I think it's going to be Riley Rebel, but I know Sam Yoon, now that he's healthy, he'll really push to try to retain his starting job from a year ago. My whole thing with the offensive line, guys, is I think it has a chance to be good, but I don't really see a lot of high-end talent there. And if it's good, that's great. But the fact that UCLA on defense was able to get so much pressure and all those run stuffs that's nice for the defense, but a little bit with me, I was kind of concerned, like, well, does that mean the offensive line might not be that good? But we'll see. Once they solidify who's going to be where, and they really have a top group come together, I think then we can have more takeaways about that position group.
Yeah, it's always hard when you talk about any inter squad thing, especially when you break up the groups. It's it's kind of zero-sum game type of thing. But I want to ask you, looking at the defense first, looking at the staff that's coming in and what you've seen from them in their years at other stops, what kind of defense is it going to look like schematically, just in the broad strokes? Like, is it going to be kind of a traditional, what college defense has become, some sort of nickel defense, and they kind of work off of that? Or is there something wacky or strange to this defense at all that we should be looking for as we head into the fall?
Based on what we've seen, it looks like a traditional college defense for the most part, where you have DJ Barksdale at the nickel spot, 2 safeties, 2 corners, 2 linebackers, sometimes 3 linebackers, but mostly 2. And then the defensive line is the defensive line. I think the versatility with Colin Hitchler's defense, you kind of see it when Scott Taylor or Anthony Saka, the Notre Dame transfer, are playing, because they are capable of being an edge rusher. But in this defense, they're more of a Sam linebacker, where they will rush the quarterback when they're out there, but Hitchler also wants them to be able to cover running backs out of the backfield, and it's just a more versatile player. And then DJ Barksdale, the nickel, I think he is pretty good defending the run too, but obviously if it's an obvious running situation, they'll probably want to bring in someone bigger. Right. So that's sort of where you'll see some of the versatility, and that's pretty par for the course for a lot of the defenses in college right now. But Colin Hitchler, he was a secondary coach in Cincinnati when they made the college football playoff with that great team with Luke Fickell, and then he was under Nick Saban as well. So yeah. I think the secondary for UCLA projects to be really good, and Hitchler is a big part of that. But overall, I've been really impressed with him for sure. I think the defense and the staff that he's assembled, all those guys, for the most part, have stood out to me. And I just expect them to be tough. I don't expect them to give up too many plays where you're scratching your head like, oh, that was really too easy. I don't anticipate a lot of busts, even though they're new. They have a lot of experienced players. They might not all have a lot of experience at UCLA, but they are guys who played a lot of college football. It's a staff that has coached a lot in college football. And it just seems like that side of the ball is going to be competent, which is pretty good.
No, that is pretty good, and it's good to hear. I mean, that's kind of what UCLA fans have gotten used to the last couple of years, because the offense has been so just unpredictable and not real great for a while now. So I'm looking forward to at least having a hard-nosed defense, hopefully, as you predict, to watch. Same question for the offense, though. What, with this new staff, just kind of, is there any sort of broad stroke, this is what they look like kind of assessment to make, or are they just like super all over the place, multiple? What do you think?
I think it's a run-first team where that trio of running backs, I anticipate them to be really involved in the offense. And Javion Thomas has established himself as a pass catcher, and I think Wayne Knight, once he works back, he can get more involved in the passing game. Love what I've seen from Brian Rowe. They don't really have a great tight end on the roster. Noah Fox Flores and Braden Lofton are the receiving tight ends, and then Josh Pfeiffer, the JMU transfer, more of a blocking tight end. So I do think they'll be a run-first team. The nice thing is they have a really highly touted quarterback in Nico Imaliava. I kind of felt like he had an up-and-down spring a little bit, where some days he was better than others, which makes a lot of sense with the new coaching staff, new players, new offense, all that good stuff. So I'm not totally worried about him, but the passing offense, I think for UCLA to be really good or to get to that 8-win threshold, that needs to get better. No one, because Leland Smith was hurt for a lot of the spring and Aiden Mizell was a little bit disappointing, no one has established himself as that like outside X receiver, 3rd and long. You can throw it up to them and hopefully they'll come down with it. I don't know if they have a boundary receiver who I think highly of, but they have some slot guys who I really like. And then Brian Rowe has established himself as a really good Z receiver who can do a little bit of everything. So I hope that as the offensive line stabilizes with their top 5 and Nico gets more comfortable in the offense and the running backs continue to make strides, we'll see the offense improve. But after the spring practices, I certainly think the defense is a little bit further along, and I have more questions about the offense.
And that makes perfect sense. So I just got one more for you, and I'm looking at the early part of this season, the first third of the season. seems to me like, 4 winnable, but by no means easy games. Certainly with the non-con start at Cal and then hosting the Aztecs. What do you think about those first 4 games for the Bruins? What would you say if the Bob Chesney era is going to start, spectacularly? Obviously that's, they go undefeated. I don't know if we can expect that, but what do you think would be a good or great start to the Chesney era with those 4 games in mind? Cal, San Diego State, Purdue, Maryland.
Undefeated would be amazing. Obviously, I think 3-1,
Yeah.
you would of course take that. And then even if it's 2-2, that would be maybe a little concerning, but still 500 going into more of the Big Ten games, and you have Nevada later in the season. So that is probably going to be a win. Anything less than 2-2, I would be concerned, because that Cal game, who the heck knows? Like,
Right.
They have a new coach, their quarterback is back too, but like Tosh Lapoy, I think has the chance to be a really good coach, but in his first game ever, we'll see. San Diego State is a team that could potentially surprise, and then I don't think really much of Purdue and Maryland, but the fact that you got to go across the country to Maryland is challenging. So I would predict right now that they'll be 3-1 after those 4 games, but if it's 2-2, I don't think that's the end of the world. And if it's 4-0, obviously, then the hype train might get a little bit out of control. So that's kind of how I see it. Anything less than 2-2, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair.
Connor, thank you very much for joining us. That was a lot of good information. We were planning on doing this ourselves, and I was like, wait a minute. We got to introduce Connor, and he was there at the game. He can give more insight. He's been at every single spring ball. So you can reach him on the Twitter or X, whatever it's called now, at _Morrissette. Connor Morrissette, our fearless leader here at Bruin 24/7 Sports. Thank you very much for joining. And we got to get you on more as the season goes along.
My pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Didn't you say in your resume that you did 4 years at UCLA?
Yes. Technically, if you consider Bel Air an extension of the campus, which everybody does.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins, right? 4's up.
That was fun, Mike. Great job.
Yeah, he's he dove into that really quickly. So I'm like, whatever you need. And so he's reached out for information about this or that, information with football, men's basketball, women's basketball. But yeah, he jumped 2 feet in and just really took this train, 0 to 60 starting on March 1st. And it's as if we've always been here, Jake.
Hopefully, hopefully he will come back on the show as we head into the season. It was a great conversation to have. And I want to get Wayne back on soon, because I know his head's probably exploding with the positivity around UCLA football now. So I really want to talk to him.
He needs an outlet to vent. Next week you want to have a guest on to talk baseball. Yes,
and that's gonna be fun too.
Yeah, because that's looking promising. We have. Don't want to jinx anything, but UCLA has been number 1 for most of the season, the baseball team that is, and have a good shot to maybe get UCLA's 4th national championship this academic year.
I like UCLA to win the game.
Awesome. Well, that's good. So, Mike, we don't really have anything else to talk about then. So as soon as I can find the What's Brewing With You button, we'll just get on with that, I guess. Let's see, where is it? It's there somewhere. Oh, there it is.
With you. You ask me, what's brewing with me? What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Mike, what's brewing with you?
It's a long, busy weekend. Friday, obviously I had to go I was preparing for the spring game on Saturday, but on Friday, don't know why they have this on a Friday night, but my kids had their science fair / open house at their school, and that's always fun to see. Especially since there are a lot of there have been some parents and some administrators who, they find out who I am, and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute,
that's fun."
You're Mike Regalado from, oh my God. Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. One of the PE teachers, we just got along just talking about UCLA sports. So, no, it was pretty cool to see that, but just see the progress with my kids at school. And just walking around, meeting all the parents, seeing the progress of the kids, even though it is the end of the school season. But it's really funny. My son Hugo has been really into sports, and one of the reasons is his one of his teachers who, like last season, covering UCLA, he would occasionally, while watching the game, he would occasionally go, "So how's West Virginia doing?" I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, just interested." I'm like,
Keep you on
"Why?"
your toes.
His teacher used to play football at West Virginia.
Oh,
so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah,
That
I
makes
met
sense.
him. We talked a little bit of college football. So I told him, hey, you're going to have some good stuff to tell him, when you return on Monday. And even more so because he went with me to the spring game, and actually he was helping me out with the stats and trying to get all the information play by play. So not only did this give him a chance to see how football teams go from play to play, how they set up, all this other stuff that I was teaching him. But as we were leaving, we saw none other than Mr. Fantastic Garrett DiGiorgio.
Oh, wow.
And I just saw him. I was like, oh, hey, Garrett. He's like, oh, hey, what's up? He came up, gave me a hug. I was like, that's my dude. Introduced him to Hugo, and Hugo's looking up at this 6'7" guy, just all smiles. And I was like, yeah, Garrett, like, my son's been getting into football, so I was like, "Oh, that's cool, yeah." So he got to talk to him a little bit. My son's also gotten into F1 racing, and I blame me, which is awesome. So
Right.
It was weird because
Are you watching like the reality show stuff too?
oh god no, I don't watch reality show anything, so no. But I heard it's good. The Need for Speed,
That's
whatever it is.
what the gateway was for most of these people that are into it now.
Yeah. I had another gateway. It was a drug, but okay, long story short, F1 hasn't been active for 5 weeks because of some stupid war in the Middle East. And during that time, two of the Grand Prix were supposed to be in Middle East countries.
Sheesh.
So they're like, yeah, we're canceling that. So they had their first Grand Prix in Miami over the weekend. So Hugo was glued to it. Like, I like watching it. I like the strategy, but this guy is like asking questions. What does that mean? What does that mean? He's just like soaking in everything with a sponge. And that's with every sport. So that was pretty cool. But we also spent most of the weekend running around town trying to get everything ready for my daughter, who is currently in Williamsburg, Virginia, for her 8th grade trip. So I'm very excited about that.
Let's go.
So she's going to be up in D.C. later in the week, and then finishing up in Philadelphia, the birthplace of the nation. So yeah, I'm very excited. I had an 8th grade trip myself. I went to New York, Philly, D.C., but hey, an adventure is an adventure. So that's what happened with us. I'm still exhausted for the weekend. Jake, what's brewing with you?
You know what trips I went on for my 8th grade, whatever.
It's so weird. I tell random people, adults our age, some people are like, oh yeah, I had an 8th grade trip. And people are like, I hear about this 8th grade trip. What the hell is that? Yeah, very bizarre.
Very cool. The kids of today have it good, I guess. I had a fun story last week from court. If you missed that, go back and listen to
brilliant.
To the What's Brewing, or I published it separately too. I think on the Patreon and on the Substack or whatever. And I think it was free, but that was fun. This week I'm just we're all just getting ready for our golden bear to graduate. We're gonna be going up there in a week or so. She just played the bells of the Campanile in a recital the other day. I put an Instagram post out about that, I think, but we're looking forward to that. And then it's birthday month for Malcolm as well, and the twins, the Shirley twins, and their graduating
and their
high
graduation
school
party.
And Sarah's birthday is the week after that, and my anniversary. So this time of year is always
You're stacked, bro.
with stuff. And I'm running a half marathon this Saturday, and then I'm trying to fit in another dive at some point. So busy time.
All
I
right,
got to move
Jake.
Megan back down from Berkeley. So I'm sure at some point there's going to be some more stories to tell.
Yeah.
I also managed to talk. There's a bunch of stuff. I'll get to it later. But anyways, that's my what's brewing. I don't have a whole lot other than there's a lot of stuff swirling. So, Mike, this is great. I'm glad you got an awesome guest. I'm glad we have an awesome guest hopefully booked for next week.
Yeah.
And hopefully Bruin Sports continues to be on the rise, because that's what it seems like. So it's a lot of fun to talk about this stuff when they're actually good and they don't suck and they're not looking at you like, what do you expect? I'm just here collecting paycheck and whatever. Don't look at me sideways if we suck. Thanks a lot, Chip. Whatever.
Chip Kelly
I
doesn't even have a job anymore. No, he's
I loved him until
he's
I
at
didn't.
Northwestern.
I loved him until I did.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all. We're enough with this. Our grapes.
What a chip.
Mike, It's good to see you. I'll see you next week.
Mhm.
And then you'll have to handle the next week, and then I'll have to handle the week after that.
Yes.
So let's really enjoy each other next week.
Let's do it. Oh,
Okay.
my.
Exactly.
Oh, my. Yeah, I might. I got to hit you up because I was not going to go Sunday, but now that I was supposed to have a guest on my show. She's sick, and I think she was going to perform, so she's going to delay 2 weeks. So my Sunday is free. Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, I'm there.
I know
Let's
you're
go.
there, and I was when I saw, I was like, oh damn it, I already booked
There's
this.
a
I can't
chance
do
I
it.
might have an extra ticket, bro.
Let me know.
I will
I will Venmo you.
Oh, no, you be a guest, and it would depend on Molly.
Oh no, or then I'm buying y'all beers or
if
whatever.
That's fine.
All right.
Not
Where is
a
it?
beer.
Hollywood or?
It's at the Bowl, which I'm not
Yes.
looking forward to. But yes,
Yeah,
if I have
it's hit or miss.
If I have an extra ticket now, it's accounted for.
Dude, I am
will let you
there
know this week.
Let's go.
That's good. I can't wait for it. If you want. That's Sunday night.
Exactly.
All right. So with that being said, maybe me and Mike will have a report from the Hollywood Bowl next week. If we both are there together, we'll record something.
Hells yeah.
Cool. So until next time, thank you very much. And Mike, what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Oh my God.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's got to be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we place a ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.